Good evening, race fans, and welcome to another lovely race here with the American Sim Racing Club for the Super Late Model Touring Series. We are here today at New Smyrna Speedway. I almost said Raceway. That is incorrect. It is Speedway. Folks, we are here today where we are going to see 15-lap heat races, which has started to become the norm here with American Sim Racing Club. Now that we have seen kind of a stable number in the field, if you will. So, 15 laps is going to allow drivers during the heat races to have a little bit more of an opportunity, more of a shot at putting themselves in a better position for the start of the feature. Anyhow, my name is Mason Heimball with Team Goon Squad, bringing you the action here tonight, 1080p, 60 frames a second. Folks, I hope you all are ready for the action here tonight as drivers begin their qualifying runs here today. Currently looking at Billy Thomas in the number 9 machine, working his way around the track, as a few drivers have already set their best times here already. Brett Hahn at the very tippy top of the field with a 17.52. Ron Hart just behind him with a 17.62. David Payton. Ooh, actually, right as I say that, Matthew Catania coming in, taking that third place spot by literally 1/100th of a second. Wow, this field is already changing here right before our very eyes. Some very fast drivers putting down some very fast times here at New Smyrna. Before we get into the race here tonight, folks, I do want to mention, and I want to give a little bit of a shout out to one Mr. Tom Curry with, I believe it is FLM, FLF, I can't remember which one it is. I apologize, folks. To Mr. Tom, I apologize if I get the incorrect one here, but I believe it's FLM Fabrication. They are giving out $20 in total for prize money here tonight, which for anyone in the sim racing world, that is big money, if you will. $10 is going to go towards the winner of tonight's race. $10 will go to a random driver that will remain to be determined. So, a little bit of extra incentive for drivers here tonight to do well, or maybe not so well. I mean, hey, there's at this point in time, there is looks like a 1 out of 15 chance that you might come away with another $10 with $10 towards your iRacing account, which, you know, always is fun when you have a little bit of stakes on the line. As the white flag has flown here for our qualifying, and we have our starting grid up and ready for us for the start of our first heat race of the day. Nathan Henry, the number 59 machine, taking first place here with Brian Wilvison, the 951, taking second place, rounding out our first row. David Payton, the number 38 machine, taking third place here today. Matthew Catania in the 318, taking fourth place, rounding out our second row. Charles Darling, the number 88 machine, in fifth place with Ron Hart in the 051, taking sixth place, rounding out our third row. Nick Fleury in seventh. Brett Hahn going to take eighth place here tonight. Austin Nielsen in 9th place, Jackson Lewis in 10th place, Jerry Cochran in 11th, Billy Thomas in 12th place here tonight. And as we move on down the grid here, John DeMeester in 13th, Tanner Tallarico showing up in the grid every single week, but he is not a driver here in the race. He is the guy up in the race control booth, making sure that everything goes as smooth as possible. Tanner Tallarico, the owner and founder of American Sim Racing Club, doing a fantastic job week in and week out, managing and overseeing all the things ASRC. John Senu, meanwhile, in 15th place, and Jason Griffith rounding out the field here in 16th here tonight. So, grand total of 15 drivers that we are going to have out on track here for today's race as drivers make their way for the very first time with the pace truck in tow, and it looks like the lights are already off, so we are going to have a quick start here to our heat race here today. 15 laps that we're going to be completing here at New Smyrna, and that is all right. We're going to take another lap around here with the pace truck in tow. So here as we come out of turn 2 and down the back straightaway, we have an in-car camera view of Brett Hahn's machine down on the bottom right-hand side of your screen, so you can get a little piece of the action from the inside of Brett Hahn's car here as we come out of turn 4. Pace truck is in. And away we go. Nathan Henry, Brian Wilderson gonna be at the very top of the field here. Nathan Henry, the 59 machine, doing a very good job keeping himself away from this pack here. Matthew Catania, David Payton, meanwhile, both duking it out side by side here. Coming out of turn 4, these two have not left each other's side since the start of the race here. Catania going to be on the outside line here with David Payton down on the inside. Payton here looking like he's, man, it almost looked like he was struggling there for a second coming out of turn 2. It looked like just got a little bit wobbly, but ultimately able to keep it very, very clean and very competitive there down on the inside line here. You also see Brett Hahn starting to close in just behind them here in 6th place. The driver that we have, the inside car camera view as David Payton gets a little bit of a tap out of turn 4 down the front straightaway. He's on the grass here, right at the checkered line. The caution does not fly here. Nope, there it goes. Right as I say it, the yellow flag does fly here. David Payton going to be the one involved in this one. It looks like Jerry Cochran also might have been involved in an incident here. Let's see if we can get an instant replay. Here as we're looking with Jerry. Oh, gets a little bit of a tap here from the number 21 of Jason Griffith. That's going to send him down to the bottom wall coming out of turn 2. And I think that might have been the reason for the caution. I think, you know, if it wasn't for that second incident, if you will, aside from David Payton, we might have possibly stayed green there all the way. Either way, this is going to allow the field to get themselves stacked back up here behind the pace truck, get another restart in for this heat race. Now, granted that it's only 15 laps and you're really only racing for your quote-unquote qualifying position, if you will, for your feature. Well, I don't think a caution here in the heat race is exactly where these drivers want to see it come out. But either way, either how, the field's going to get re-racked. We're going to see another restart here at New Smyrna for the first time. And let's see what Nathan Henry, Brian Wilderson up in the front row here, Matthew Catania, Ron Hart in the second row, Brett Hahn, Nick Fleury in your third row have in store for us here as we make our way down the back straightaway. Pace truck is in, and away we go. Green flag is out here once more. Nathan Henry with the jump that he's been looking for. Brett Hahn going to be down on the inside for just a moment of the 051 of Ron Hart. Down the back straightaway we go. Here as we're going to get a side-by-side view of the action as it unfolds. try and give you folks a little bit of an idea of what's unfolding throughout the entirety of the racetrack here. And if you look at the right-hand side of your screen, you can see David Payton ultimately having fallen back to the tail end of the field here. Not going to be in probably the best spot that he wants to be in, but ultimately fighting his way through nonetheless. With 9 laps left to go, it's Nathan Henry, Brian Wilt. I mean, it's all single file up here, folks. No one's made any risky moves here yet. I expect it will come if the opportunity arises for one of these drivers here. But again, we'll just have to stay patient. We'll have to keep an eye out and see as things progress on here. Brett Hahn still down on the inside of Ron Hart. Coming across the line, it's 6 laps left to go. Nick Fleury's, man, he was down there on the inside there. Ron Hart causing Brett Hahn to check up there. Man, look at Brett Hahn. He is just driving the wheels off this thing. Let's actually ride on board here with Brett Hahn here for just a moment. With 5 laps left to go here. Ron Hart trying to cut him off there. Make sure that he doesn't put himself on a podium here for tonight. Ron and I think everyone else in this field knows just how dangerous that 71 machine can be here. At any racetrack, it really doesn't matter where they are. They know that Brett Hahn, no matter where he is, he'll find a way to work his way through the field, and keeping him as far down that field as much as you can is in your best interest if you want to be someone that's competing in a race or in a championship. Here as Matthew Catania, look at this. Matthew Catania, Brian Wildison, both side by side here, battling it out for that second place spot with 2 laps left to go here at New Smyrna Speedway. And they're going side to side here. They get a little bit of action. Ron Hart, he gets clipped by that. Almost collecting other drivers into that one. Brett Hahn getting into that a little bit as well. Not able to find anywhere else to go around the track other than just, back off. Nathan Henry ultimately going to come across the line here for first place. Matthew Catania in second and Nick Fleury in third. That was quite the battle. I mean, all the way until the very bitter end. And I'm certain that a lot of these drivers probably didn't want that to end the way that it did. But sometimes that's just the dice that you get rolled for a race like you have here at New Smyrna. Folks, and if I do apologize if you can hear the sounds of a fan blowing in your ears or through your TVs. It is a little hot here in the broadcasting booth here today, so I do apologize if that noise is coming through. I am doing my best to mitigate that. However, it is a little toasty in here, a little humid. Anyway, still got a lot of great racing, a lot of great action that we can look forward to here tonight as we get ourselves ready for the feature race here at New Smyrna. While drivers have a little bit of time to get their tires, get themselves warmed up before the feature, we got a few minutes left here before that happens. So during that time, we're going to go ahead and step away here in the booth for just a moment. When we come back, we will have a few words before we start the race, and then we will have our starting grid, and we will go into green flag. So stay tuned, don't go anywhere. Catch all the action that we have here tonight with the American Sim Racing Club for the Super Late Model Touring Series. We will be back in just a moment for more iRacing right here on Team Goon Squad. Welcome back, race fans. With just under 2.5 minutes left to go before we get ourselves into the 75-lap feature here tonight at New Smyrna Speedway for the American Sim Racing Club Super Late Model Touring Series. Folks, it has been quite the season thus far, and frankly, if you haven't seen any of the action that we had seen for the first season that we covered here on Team Goon Squad of the Super Late Model Touring Series, frankly, I mean, these races I look forward to every single week. I mean, the action that we see between drivers just brewing time and time again, it's always exciting. There's always something to watch here with the American Sim Racing Club and all of these drivers. I mean, it has been an absolutely incredible fight for the championship. It's been incredible watching all the drivers develop throughout the seasons and continue to hone their abilities as drivers. So, after the results that we saw for our first heat race of the night, for some reason I assumed that I would be able to show the results of the heat race, but now I'm not able to. Anyhow, okay. All right. That is not what I'm looking for here, SDK. All right. So, the starting lineup that we have here for our feature race here at New Smyrna Speedway: Nathan Henry, the number 59 machine, taking first place here with Matthew Catania in the 318, taking second place, rounding out our first row. Nick Fleury taking third place here in the number 25 machine, with Jackson Lewis in the number 7 taking fourth place. Austin Nielsen in the 52 taking fifth. Charles Darling, the number 88, in sixth place, rounding out the third row. Brian Wildison, the 951, in seventh. Brett Hahn, the 71, taking eighth place here today. Billy Thomas, the number 9, in ninth place, ironically. John Senu in the 86 machine, taking 10th place. Jason Griffith, the number 21 machine, in 11th. David Payton, the number 38, in 12th place. And as we move on down the grid here, John DeMeester, the number 2 car, taking 13th. Jerry Cochran in the 82, taking 14th. Ron Hart, the 051, rounding out the field here in 15th. All right, folks, so with Nathan Henry, Nick Fleury, Matthew Catania all in our top 3 here on this first green flag start here of our racing, frankly, this could be, one of those races where it could go one of two ways. It could be a caution fest, it could be green all the way until the end, or it could be somewhere right in between the middle. But frankly, this season, these drivers have all just shown such professionalism, such great driving skill week in and week out. So personally, I don't think we're going to see any of these drivers struggle per se. If we do, it might just be here and there. But we are green flag racing here for the very first time as the pace truck has made its way down into pit lane, and we are already working our way out of turn 2 and down the back straightaway for these drivers here today. We're currently locked on with Matthew Catania there for just a moment. We're looking at Nick Fleury here. Ooh, a wobble there out of the 25 coming out of turn 4. keeping it side by side here with Austin Nielsen in the 52. They go banging door to door here, coming down the back straightaway out of turn 2, working their way into turn 3. The yellow flag is out here as Jackson Lewis, the number 7 car, real slow, coming out of turn 2, down the back straightaway. Let's see if we can get an instant replay of what unfolded here for Jackson. Here we go, heading into turn 1. You've got the 21 machine, it looks like, of Jason Griffith. Oh, that wasn't even the driver to look out for. It was Billy Thomas up in front of him, grinding up against the wall, coming out of turn 2. That's going to cost Jackson Lewis to really have nowhere to go. He's got that driver down on his inside, the 21 machine of Jason Griffith, preventing him from really having any sort of avoidance to that collision. So extremely unfortunate to see that first caution come out here tonight. Probably something to do with the commentator's curse. I'm not going to confirm nor deny that, but there is a good possibility of that. Anyway, we're going to reverse that if it is the case, and we're going to hope to see some green flag racing here for these drivers and for you folks at home that are tuning in and watching and enjoying the action that is unfolding for us here tonight. So here we go. The pace truck is back into pit lane. The green flag is back out here at New Smyrna. Nathan Henry, Matthew Catania, Nick Fleury, Charles Darling actually, as they go side by side here down the back straightaway. Nick Fleury still down on the inside of Charles Darling. Charles trying to do everything that he possibly can here. Here as we get an inside look of Austin Nielsen's 52 car, the Bud Light machine, currently sitting in 5th place here. Charles Darling, Nick Fleury still banging doors side by side with one another. Great racing though. Nathan Henry, Matthew Catania starting to develop a little bit of a gap between themselves and the rest of the field. Charles Darling goes way, way wide there. He's going to have to fall back down the field now, all the way to 6th place just behind Brett Hahn as we work our way out of turn 4 across the checkered line. It's lap 7 of 75 here at New Smyrna. Nick Fleury that we're still locked on here with, currently Austin Nielsen just behind him in the number 52 car. Doing a phenomenal job here. Charles Darling just behind them, who we saw just a little while ago, having to fall back here into 7th place. Let's see if we can actually... Does not look like... Okay, never mind. But with all the battles that we have forming out on track, you know... Oh, right as we tune to Jason Griffith. And who is that? Jackson Lewis. They both get a little dirty with each other. Jason Griffith, Jackson Lewis, both getting side by side into one another. Ultimately, Jason Griffith, who was receiving a lot of that there, able to keep it together, keep it out on track, and he's still racing here in 11th place with the closest driver behind him, Billy Thomas, in 12th at this moment, who's sitting 2.5 seconds behind him at this point in time. But look at the battle forming up just ahead of them. And frankly, through the rest of this field, I mean, it's just getting absolutely intense here. So here, as we have a look at the side-by-side, or well, rather the top-down view, if you will, or I guess that's not really the right word either way. Austin Nielsen, or who was that? Oh, man. Oh, it just gets worse. The 52 machine getting sent spinning. Austin Nielsen flipping across the front straightaway onto the bottom wall. Oh, man. Oh, man. What a tough way to bring out the caution here. Let's see exactly what unfolded here in our instant replay. Oh, the 59 of Nathan Henry, I believe. Oh, man. Oh, man. So the 59 of Nathan Henry is ultimately the driver who kind of began the domino effect, if you will, for Austin Nielsen. And for Austin Nielsen, it just got worse and worse from there. That is extremely unfortunate to see here for Austin Nielsen. What a rough way. And look at the damage to that 52 car. Not looking too good here on lap 16 of 75 with our second caution out here for the race here at New Smyrna. So the green flag is back out here, as we were busy paying attention to that there for a moment. Nathan Henry, Matthew Catania, Nick Fleury. Oh, man, look at this side-by-side action here as we come down the back straightaway into turn 3. Nick Fleury down on the inside of Brett Hahn here. Out of turn 4, Catania just up ahead of them, looking to try and maybe make a pass down on the inside of Nathan Henry here, coming down the back straightaway. Is he going to be able to pull it off here going into turn 3? He might just be able to. Coming out of turn 4, he's got the pace, and there he goes. Catania taking the lead here at New Smyrna. Lap 18 of 75. Nathan Henry going to fall back into second place here. Brett Hahn, who again, we know is extremely well known for working his way through a field and getting himself up here into the top 3, or even with a win, excuse me. A championship definitely is not too ill-familiar for the 71 machine, as he is a, well, multi-champion here with the American Sim Racing Club, having won both the the super late model and the modified championships that we have broadcasted here on Team Goon Squad. Of course, having won more than just that outside of what we have broadcasted here. As Brett Hahn now comfortably taking that second place spot here, as Nathan Henry gets Ron Hart gets a little bit of a tap here from just behind. Almost could have been a lot worse for Ron Hart there. That was an extremely good save for the 051. I have to get a replay of that. That was just incredible. I have to get a replay of that. Okay, we're going to see if we can get a replay of that here while we have the live action brewing up here. I know it's going to say in-car camera on your right-hand side, but That's incorrect. It's just a live view. Okay, here goes Ron Hart into turn 1. The tap from Nick Fleury from behind from Nathan Henry. Charles Darling sets him back straight, and frankly, if it wasn't for Charles Darling, that would have been a lot worse. The 88 machine could not have been in a better place at a better time for Ron Hart. I mean, for Charles Darling, he's going to have to take some damage, of course, but for Ron Hart, he's got to be thinking to himself, man, oh man, if he was just a second later or earlier, that could have been absolutely crushing here for the 051 of Ron Hart. Just up ahead of them is Charles Darling. Jackson Lewis duking it out here for 4th place. Lap 27 of 45 here at New Smyrna Speedway. Matthew Catania sitting in the lead currently as he was able to make that pass. And put himself up here into 1st place, and now he's got Brett Hahn just behind him sitting in 2nd. Here we got a 4-string battle. Currently for 8th place here, Jason Griffith at the top of this battle here, currently sitting in 8th place in that number 21 machine here as Austin Nielsen dives down on the inside of Nathan Henry, able to make that pass into 10th place, pushing his way back into the top 10 here. And look at this, the battle for the lead is starting to intensify as Brett Hahn has closed in here on our leader, Matthew Catania. And we're going to get a side-by-side view of all the, some of the action that we have unfolding here. Matthew Catania, Matthew Catania and Brett Hahn on the left-hand side of your screen. Nick Fleury and Jackson Lewis on the right-hand side of your screen currently. And these are the battles for 1st and 3rd place here currently on lap 35 of 75. Just over, actually just about to the halfway point here in today's race. So here, Jackson Lewis that we're looking at right now. Oh, he's into the rear bumper of Nick Fleury coming out of turn 4. Keeping it together. That was extremely close here for Nick Fleury. Oh, and he sends him sideways once again coming into turn 3. Folks, I almost have to think that, that was an intentional move. It almost looks that way. You can't guarantee that, but man, oh man, to see it not once, not twice, but almost, it looked like 3 times there that we see Nick Fleury get a little bit of pressure from behind from Jackson Lewis. Man, oh man, that has got to be absolutely tough here for the number 25 machine, for Jackson Lewis. he's going to be sitting pretty well comfortable here at this point with only Ron Hart sitting behind him as far as competition is concerned. And Ron Hart having quite a bit of front end damage. I don't know exactly how competitive he will be here towards the later stage of this race. Just have to keep an eye on things and keep looking on. Here, as we're still looking at the leader here for just a moment, Matthew Catania, Brett Hahn duking it out side by side. Here, as you get an inside car camera view of Brett Hahn's machine on the right-hand side, while we watch along the battle on our left. And maybe perhaps look at some of the other action that we see throughout the field here, as Austin Nielsen right hot on the tail of Brian Wildesen, sitting in 9th place currently. There, as we see John DeMeester going up high here, coming into turn 1 and 2. Not exactly certain what for here, as he does that once more into turns 3 and 4. Might just be letting the other drivers on by. But either way, either how, this has been quite the race here for these drivers. We've seen a lot of pretty good battles, I'd say, throughout this race here. And frankly, a lot, week in and week out, we'll see a lot of drivers that just, they have some sort of fight in them that I love to see. I love to see it. It's really, really great to see some of the action that we see unfold from some of these drivers here. Here is Brian Wildesen. I'm not certain why he was slow there for a moment, but almost seemingly having some problems possibly in that 951 car, or maybe just not happy with the way it's handling at this point in the race. But there you see it on the top of your screen. 26 laps left to go here at New Smyrna Speedway. And again, if you're just now tuning in or just tuned in recently, this race, there are a couple prizes available for tonight's race. Those prizes offered by Tom Curry with FLM Fabrication. $10 to win the race here tonight, and $10 to a random driver in the field, as Charles Darling, a little bit of a wall scrape coming out of turn 2. That's going to give David Payton the opportunity down on the inside to, gain a little bit of speed here as he comes out of 4. Down the front straightaway, they make a little bit of contact there, possibly through turns 1 and 2. Darling, once again up on that wall, not able to find a line that seemingly is working for him right now. Not sure if he's just driving it a little bit too hard coming out of 2 or what the issue is. Seemingly getting it corrected this time around here, but look at the battle for first place starting to get quite serious. Here as Matthew Catania, Brett Hahn, Jackson Lewis, all within a quarter of a second of each other here with 22 laps left to go. Here as we're going to ride out the rear window of Matthew Catania's 318 machine. You see Jackson Lewis, Brett Hahn there getting a little side by side here as we come into turn 3. Brett Hahn trying to build up some more momentum to get himself back up here in contention with first place driver Matthew. But now that Jackson Lewis here has pushed his way up into second place, with 20 laps left to go, the clock is ticking here for the 71 car. As a lot of this field now has spread out quite significantly. And with only 18 laps left to go, this is pretty much where you have to kind of make it or break it, if you will. You see Jackson Lewis there on the top of your screen. He is absolutely on a mission. Lewis still down on the inside as he comes out of turn 4. Into turn 1. He gets into the inside of the 318 of Catania. He's also into the wall. The caution is out here with only 15 laps left to go here at New Smyrna, and all it took was one tap of the bumper. Let's take a look at that here once again with the Team Goon Squad instant replay. Here we see it once more. Jackson Lewis down on the inside of Matthew Catania, down the front straight into turn 1. There it is, the contact onto the left side rear bumper of the 318. Lewis also getting his car unsettled into that mix there. Ooh, Nick Fleury. It looks like he might have possibly got some contact there from Jackson Lewis, trying to get himself back corrected onto the track here. So, after that little bit of a scuffle here for our drivers in the lead, that has opened up the door here for Brett Hahn, Ron Hart, and David Payton, all to take the top 3 here tonight at New Smyrna. With 15 laps left to go here, folks, it is essentially,
hang on, we're not going green.
It's essentially a second heat race tonight, if you will. Here, as we're going to step away from the booth here just 1 second. I will be right back. We got to take care of one technical difficulty, technical oversight, if you will. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. Hi, that was fast, wasn't it? Welcome back, folks. Sorry about that. That was kind of bugging me there a little bit. I had to take care of that issue, but if you didn't notice, good. There was nothing to worry about in the first place. But for me, it was bothering me, and I just had to make sure it was done. Anyway, anyhow, third caution here of the night, and frankly, you know, with all the action that we've seen, it's been some pretty spicy action thus far, as now we're going to come out of turn 4. The pace truck dives its way into pit road. Into the restart zone we go. Brett Hahn, the 71 machine, taking no time at all here to get away from the field with 14 laps left to go. Like I said, folks, it is essentially like a second heat race here for the final stint of the feature race here tonight, as Brett Hahn still in the lead here. We're looking at Charles Darling sitting in 4th place here, who frankly, now that we have another restart open to us, I have a feeling that Charles here might try and make some moves here in the final few laps. We'll just have to keep an eye on that and see as the race progresses on. Here, if you're looking at the right-hand side of your screen, you'll see Nick Fleury In the inside of his number 25 machine, we're riding along with the helmet camera of that number 25 car here. Left-hand side of your screen, we're looking at second place driver Ron Hart, the 051. 11 laps left here to go at New Smyrna. Man, oh man, Jason Griffith, Matthew Catania getting out into turn 3 here. Catania, you know, after suffering that loss of position from Jackson Lewis, who now is just ahead of him, I've almost got to be wondering if Catania's got to be thinking about maybe a little bit of, you know, not necessarily revenge, but wanting to make sure that Jackson Lewis doesn't finish ahead of him at the very least here. We'll just have to wait and see, as Catania still charging his way here in that 318 machine down the back straightaway with 8 laps left to go. You know, if I was Catania after leading that many laps and seeing that number 7 car in front of me, I'd be a little upset too. You know, but it's one of those things as a driver, both in sim racing and in real life, you gotta manage your emotions. You gotta be able to keep yourself well, steady here, as our drivers, one of our drivers, Jason Griffith, not having the steadiest moment here in the final few races, or final few laps of the race here. Here as we look at the instant replay of the number 21 car. A little bit of a oh man, a big contact there down out of turn 2 to the back wall. Huge contact there for the number 21 machine, and that's going to bring out our 4th caution here of the race tonight. As we're going to take a quick commercial break, folks, and stay tuned. Don't go anywhere, and we'll be right back for more iRacing right here on Team Goon Squad. Welcome back, folks. 7 laps left here to go at New Smyrna Speedway. Brett Hahn, Ron Hart, Charles Darling, all in our top 3 here. Lights are still on the pace truck. Drivers still getting themselves settled back out on the track here in their proper positions where they need to be here for this race. So it looks like race control getting everything sorted out, getting drivers where they properly need to be. It's been a little bit confusing few laps here. These last 15 laps proving to be quite the most interesting ones, to say the least. All right, there they go. The lights are off. Oh. What in the world is going on here? So not exactly certain what's going on in the race control booth here. Might just be a few other drivers getting the wave around, etc., etc. A few drivers having to come down into the pits as well to get some damage worked out. Whatever the case may be here, I do believe that this might just be purely because, you know, we've had a couple interesting events here, and drivers are finding themselves with a little bit of things to get banged out down in pit lane. But it looks like all of our drivers that are meant to be out on track are out on track. Eric Hahn in the broadcast chat, giving a shout out to the 71 of his son, Brett Hahn, Brett the Jet. Eric, good to have you in the chat. Welcome. Thank you for tuning in, and it was good seeing you in the modified tour last season around. Eric, I hope to see you again sometime behind the wheel and get to see you back out on track here with Brett Jet the Hahn. Brett the Jet Hahn. Wow, I said that all kinds of incorrect here. As, what in the world is going on here? Give me a... Okay, so this is the first time that this has ever happened here at Team Goon Squad. I don't think I've ever encountered something like this before. I hope oh no. Oh dear. All right, folks, so this is a little strange. I'm not exactly certain what happened here. Give me a moment to figure out what's going on, and I will be right back in just a moment. Alrighty, folks, welcome back to the booth here. So, things have kind of ended a little bit strange. This is how the race has ended here tonight. iRacing has had a little bit of an issue here tonight. This is the first time, again, the first time that we've had this sort of issue, at least as far as I know, with Team Goon Squad, and as well with the American Sim Racing Club. But that is going to be the conclusion of our race here today. Unfortunately, we're not going to see the final 7 laps that we were expecting to see here for the New Smyrna Speedway race here tonight. But Brett Hahn, Ron Hart, David Payton going to be taking our top 3 here tonight. So we're going to go ahead and get into our post-race results, or well, our post-race interviews here, starting off with Mr. David Payton, the number 38 car, taking home 3rd place here tonight. Let's go ahead and bring him down here. David, sir, do you have a read?
I think so.
David, welcome to the booth here. I know this is, I'm honestly, David, I'm a little confused. I'm sure you're probably just as confused as I am. This is the first time this has ever happened where we've had a race end because of technical difficulties. Beyond anyone's control here, both in the booth as well as in the race control, and et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, David, you didn't have to finish those final 7 laps, and here you are. You're able to take home 3rd place, but frankly, I don't think that it would have taken you much more effort than you already put in here tonight. I mean, it was a phenomenal race for yourself, and you kind of were put in a very opportunistic spot once the leaders, the prior leaders, Matthew Catania and Jackson Lewis, both got themselves into a bit of an incident going into, I believe it was turn 2, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, I definitely stole that one a little bit. I think I had a fifth place finish, which with this group I consider that kind of my box, right? I know there's some really fast guys here, and week in and week out it's going to be really hard for me to beat them. I'd have to get lucky, and tonight I got lucky and was able to beat a couple of them. And then yeah, it's a shame that we had those last 7 laps. We had to call the race because everybody, I don't know what it looked like on the broadcast, but basically half the field or more was just getting booted out of the server because of iRacing. It wasn't anything on our end. iRacing just decided they didn't like us today and kept booting us out. So we decided just to call the race, and I got lucky. I think if we did do a restart, I think Chuck had something for me on the start, and he probably could have got underneath me. But if I was able to defend that inside, I think once I got the rhythm in and we got a couple green flag laps, it seemed like I was able to pull away from him. But I'm historically bad at restarts, so I think Chuck probably could have taken advantage of that and got underneath me and maybe knocked me out of the top 3. But I'll take it.
Absolutely. I mean, any podium you got to be satisfied with, right? But I mean, like you mentioned, this was a completely out of the blue sort of situation. I mean, I was completely lost up here in the booth. It just seemed like we were just taking a couple extra laps around with the pace truck, and then all of a sudden it was just race is over. I was like, excuse me? So I was a little confused, but ultimately, David, I mean, either way, you looked fairly comfortable out there towards the latter half of the race, and frankly, I don't think you would have found yourself any other position. Not to knock on you there, but I think you would have found yourself still in 3rd place regardless of the outcome here tonight. But I got to congratulate you, man. You did a phenomenal job. It was a tough race, and you found yourself in a little bit of a pickle. I don't recall the exact incident, but you found yourself kind of towards the tail end of the field. I mean, talk to me about that and what it was like trying to work your way back up here into, what is now 3rd place.
Yeah, there was a couple, I think it was Ron and somebody else, they got together, and I sort of just kind of got boxed out where I was behind Ron, and while he was collecting the car, and I had to get on the brakes real heavy and wound up losing a bunch of spots. But I mean, I started from the back because I screwed it up myself in the heat race and just jumped on the throttle too hard and spun it. Wound up finishing towards the back and then starting in the back. But honestly, this is one of those tracks where you just kind of have to be smooth and consistent with your inputs and stuff, and try everything you can. You got to get a nose under the guy in front of you. And even then, it's not a guarantee to get the spot. It's pretty hard to pass here. A lot of times you're either just waiting for somebody to screw up, make a mistake in front of you, and capitalize on it. And that's pretty much what, for most of the spots. I think there was maybe 1 or 2 spots where I really kind of battled it and got my car in position to make the pass. But a lot of positions that I gained back were me taking advantage of mistakes or wrecks. And this is one of those tracks where sometimes the racing gods smile in your favor, and you get handed positions like that. So I appreciate the kind words, though. But like I said, there's a lot of guys here that are really quick, and anytime I can get in the top 5 with this group, I consider that a pretty successful night. So I'm really happy to creep into the top 3 tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even with the circumstances, again, a podium is a podium, and to see yourself up here in the top 3, it's got to be a good feeling. So great success here tonight for yourself, David, and hopefully we get to see that carry forward throughout the season. I know that we're kind of already a little bit past, I think, the halfway mark, if I recall right. But either way, either how, great race tonight, David. Before we let you go here and celebrate, is there anyone watching the broadcast, anyone in the pit crew or at home that you want to shout out and thank for your success here?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, firstly, I thank Tim Curry with FLF. He gave us a little bit of a donation to have a money race here tonight, and it sucks that we had these issues with the server. on the race that he gave us the money for. But nevertheless, Tim Curry with FLF, that's always appreciated if we can get some interest and some support from people outside of iRacing. So that's awesome. My wife, of course, I always have to thank her, not just because she's listening, but because she's my wife and I love her. So she's the one who kind of puts up with us and lets us have our silly little hobby here. So I got to thank Natalie Payton, my wife, one of the best wives I ever had.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Got to give shout out to the spouses, to the loved ones that allow us to do the nerdy passion that we all enjoy. But David,
Still love us.
absolutely, that's right. David, thank you for joining me up here in the booth. Congratulations on third place, and hopefully we get to talk to you again next week in similar circumstances.
Thanks, Mason.
Absolutely. Have a great night, man. Alrighty, folks, that is David Payton, the number 38 machine, taking it home tonight in third place. Up next is going to be Charles Darling.
Well, that outside group.
The number 88 machine. Sorry, Chuck, I didn't mean to pull you down in the middle of what you were saying. I'm sorry, that was funny. You were able to take home second place tonight, and I was watching you just fight your way through this field, and David mentioned a little bit during his interview that this is a tough track to make any sort of passes on, and I mean, Chuck, you just seemed like you were trying to make any passes anywhere that you could, and it played out word for word. It's tough, but you found yourself up here in second place after Jackson Lewis as well as Matthew Catania both got themselves into a little bit of a scuffle. I mean, what were your expectations for tonight, and were you expecting to walk away with a podium tonight at all?
Well, actually, due to the virtual rainout, I'm scored fourth. But yeah, I'll take a fourth place finish here. It was a pretty good race. I expected to do pretty good because it's one of my favorite tracks. The outside was rolling for a little bit. I know me and Nick made a little bit of incidental contact there that shoved me up the track, so I let my teammate go by and followed him, and he's like, you didn't have to let me by, and I'm like, well, I'm driving a little upset, so I need to calm down.
Absolutely, and I you know what, I had a feeling I made a mistake there, and yeah, it does show that you are fourth place, so congratulations, Charles. You managed to sneak your way into the booth here for a post-race interview, taking home fourth place. That is my mistake, but it's not a mistake having you up here in the booth and chatting with us here tonight. But I mean, you had a phenomenal race, and frankly, it was great getting that little bit of info from you here tonight, Chuck. It was really interesting to see how this field kind of handled all the changes that we saw throughout this race here tonight, and I think you were one of the many, well, one of the few, I should say, rather, that stayed on top of that here throughout the race. But Chuck, with that in mind here, I want to give you a chance here to give a shout out, give a thank you to anyone watching, anyone in the pit crew or at home for your race here tonight.
Well, definitely. Got to thank my teammate Ron Hart, giving me some pointers on how to get around here a little faster and not overdrive it so much. Got to thank my sponsors, Bertrand Speedway and Event Center, racing every Friday night and select Saturdays, as well as Dead Short Race Car Wiring, my buddy Brad Bergman out of Fair Grove, Michigan, Michigan Auto Racing Fan Club, Eddie Performance Solutions, NorthsideTowing.net, How Racing Enterprise, and of course the B in BNC Racing, my wife Brenda. Also want to send a shout out to Tim Curry and Finish Line Fabricating for doing the iRacing credits that we're actually moving to next week. But big shout out to FLF Race Cars and Tim Curry for helping support ASRC.
Absolutely. Thank you, Chuck, for joining us up here in the booth tonight, and I look forward to seeing you next week and hopefully get to talk to you up on the podium next week again as well.
Yeah, we'll definitely shoot for it. The bigger tracks are kind of Achilles heel for me, but we'll give it a go. Thanks a lot, Mason. Appreciate you guys doing the broadcast.
Absolutely, Chuck. Thank you for joining us here tonight, and I look forward to seeing you next week.
Yes, sir.
Alrighty, folks. That was Charles Darling taking home fourth place here tonight. That is my apologies to Mr. Ron Hart, who is now up here in the booth in second place. Ron, I do apologize. I got a little confuzzled there at the end. I thought Charles Darling was second. I got you two flipped around. Anyway, Ron, you are up here in second place, and I mean, Ron, you got yourself involved in a number of situations here tonight, and frankly, I mean, with all the action that we saw brewing throughout the field, it was kind of uncertain who we were going to see up here in the podium tonight, especially after Jackson Lewis and Matthew Catania made that little bit of contact there coming out of turn 2. I believe it was turn 2 anyway. But you had quite the fight here throughout the entire race. I mean, you were duking it out with David Payton, Charles Darling, Nick Fleury, basically everyone in this field for that matter, as you worked your way up 13 positions. Ron, let me quit jibber-jabbering and let me allow you to talk about your race here tonight and what led to putting yourself up here into second place. It was a phenomenal job here tonight for the 051.
Yeah, man, just gotta use the front bumper a little more, I think. It seems like we get later in the year, everybody else starts using it, and I need to do a better job of that and clearing some room, you know. So just got knocked out of the way a couple times. Happened in the heat race, had to start dead last, and had good speed, I think. Would have liked to go green there at the end of the challenge prep, but just didn't work out. After all the contact, had some damage, really killed the tires trying to get back up there. So that is what it is. We got 4 more weeks to give it back to him if we need to.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was I gotta say, it was really fascinating, exciting to see just a lot of drivers here. They were getting into one another. They would save it, or they wouldn't. Either way, it was a lot of great racing. And for yourself coming into tonight and knowing that this track is really tough to pass on, you saw yourself with a little bit of damage to the front end of that 051 machine. I mean, were you finding yourself throughout the at any point in the race where you're finding yourself just kind of like, man, what can I do to mitigate this, to keep myself up there? Or were you having that concern at all? I mean, it just seemed like you were kind of just the luckiest driver out there here tonight, it seemed like.
Trying to play catch up, man. Kept getting knocked out of the way, it seemed like. Did a lot of rough driving, and I guess next week and going forward here next 4 weeks, make sure we get that back to some guys we have in the memory bank. Had good speed tonight, man. It's a track I felt like that I could come and get a win on, and to get that taken away without even really a chance is a bummer. So, but we'll take second. Ended up all right, I suppose. But I would like to get up there and battle Brett with no damage and even tires to see what happens.
Yeah, and I mean, especially having those last 7 laps kind of being taken away from us, if you will, real big bummer there. I said it already a couple times. That's the first time I've ever seen that happen, and I've been doing broadcasting now for pretty close to a year now at this point, probably over a year now at this point, and I've never seen that happen. I've done hundreds of broadcasts, and wow, that was truly crappy, to say the least, for everyone here tonight. I mean, to have that kind of just unexpectedly just taken away from you, that's tough, absolutely tough. And I think if you had that extra few laps to work with Brett Hahn and maybe build up something, I don't know. But unfortunately, we won't be able to say that here for tonight. But going into next week's race, let me actually figure out which one that is here before I just spew out random words. Milwaukee. So obviously a lot bigger track here. How are you feeling about the larger ovals as compared to our short track ovals that we're traditionally used to seeing here?
Man, Mason, I don't even own that one. Never made a lap on it. Don't know much about it. I'll probably buy it about 8:30 next Wednesday and take my first lap by 8:45 and go at it at 9 o'clock. So that's about how I do it anymore, man. But I look forward to talking to you up here. We'll get the top 3 next week as well. So.
Absolutely. I love to hear it, man. You know, just going into a race and just, well, not really expecting much out of it other than just having fun. Great to see it, Ron. Great to have you up here in the booth taking home a podium here tonight, and good luck to you next week at Milwaukee, and hopefully that 1 or 2 laps in practice is enough to put yourself on a podium again next week.
That's the plan, man. I'll see you then.
Absolutely, Ron. Have a great night.
See ya.
Alrighty, folks, that is Ron Hart, the 051 car, out of the booth here, taking home second place here tonight. Last and certainly not least, I'm certain that he's been waiting for quite some time. He's probably wondering what the heck is Mason doing down there in the booth. But Brett Hahn, welcome down here to the booth finally after a, well, unexpected victory here tonight. I mean, this I've already said it a dozen times. This is the first time that we've ever had this happen here on a live broadcast on Team Goon Squad, as far as I'm aware, at least any broadcast that I've done here on the channel. This has never happened before, Brett, and you know, with those last 7 laps, it's kind of like, hey, there's still opportunities here that are just kind of being left on the table. What's the deal with that? So it's tough for anyone else here in the field that might have been looking to give yourself a little bit of a challenge towards the final end of the race. But Brett, ultimately, you're the winner here tonight. How are you feeling after tonight's race, and how are you feeling after all the battles that we've seen here throughout this field? I mean, it seemed like there were drivers just bumping doors just lap after lap after lap.
Oh yeah, Mason. I don't know what people were drinking before the race, what they got in their juice, because I tell you what, everyone had their aggression up at 110 tonight. I don't know. There was absolutely no give and take tonight. There was all take, no give. Even at the heat race, we battled our way up to, I want to say, coming to third, and then got shuffled way back with the last lap deal there. So I was just mind-boggled watching all night. And I don't know what to say, Mason. I'm just glad we rebounded from last week at Sobo. Absolutely terrible job by the driver there from all night. So to come back and walk myself into a win a little bit, we'll take it at the 71 camp, dive into that little bit hat of luck for once.
Yeah, you know, and you got to take it where it comes to you, you know, and having this kind of, I don't even have a proper word for it, this weird situation unfold before us, you know, where the race has ended not by anyone's doing either. I mean, it's just, wow, it's so weird. You know, you know, we all go into this service, you know, we all utilize this service to, you know, get practice in, you know, race with our friends and et cetera and so on and so forth. This never happens, and to have something like this happen in a league race for a championship, that's tough, you know. Man.
Yeah, Mason, it was a lot to digest tonight with everything going on. And then to make it even worse, you know, we get the yellow with people dropping on out because of the rain delay, we'll call it, started sprinkling on the track.
Yeah.
So we started pacing there for those many laps. I kept on throwing the yellow once it got one to go to try and get them time, because at first we're like, all right, we'll call the race. So I'm like, sweet. Then we're like, well, we think we can jump back in, so we'll delay it and go again. I'm like, oh no, now I gotta get right back in the mental state, you know, kind of sigh of relief saying the race is over.
No.
Now it's like, I gotta tighten up the belt.
Time to get back into go mode.
Exactly. Gotta figure out when I want to go, because Ron's over the radio, because we're all good buddies. Ron's like, oh man, Brad, I was gonna dump you there, you know, once he said the race is canceled.
He was ready for it.
Yeah, then Tanner's like, all right, we're going to try and go. I'm like, oh, Ron's like, just kidding, don't remember I said anything. I'm like, oh geez. And then we get I think everyone back in here, get ready to go, and then it starts raining some more, and I think you even had some problems or whatnot. And yeah, it's luckily a big sigh of relief once it fully got closed, because I tell you what, man, the 71 wasn't the quickest. We had a pretty good car tonight, but definitely got assisted with those leaders with that incident. And I was a big pucker moment going into one. I mean, I saw them make contact, and I don't know if you saw, Mason, but I got on the brakes, locked it up, and I was looking right at Matt, and you know the old saying, you hit what you're looking at. So I quickly got off the brakes, cut it to the left, and missed it a little bit, but I was like, holy smokes.
Oh man, yeah, it was very tense there between Jackson Lewis and Matthew Catania there. That contact, it totally unexpected, but frankly, Jackson, you know, he was, like you were saying, a lot of drivers were very aggressive here tonight, and not to knock on Jackson Lewis. Jackson, if you're watching, this isn't a knock on you, buddy, but it definitely looked like the aggression was turned up a little bit in that number 7 machine here tonight. We definitely saw Jackson get a little bit of contact here with a few different drivers, as well as Matthew. But, I mean, frankly, Brett, I mean, I'm sure you can probably attest to this as well. If you're one of those drivers that wants to win and you want to get up there into the front, sometimes you got to do what you got to do, and I think that Jackson was just in that mindset here tonight. But doesn't always work for you, as it obviously has shown here.
Yeah, Mason, and a little bit bigger picture too. You know, the chase starts next week, and be making not so many friends, you know, right before the chase. It's a little bit eye-opening. It's like, what's going on here? Because I know I was trying to take care of everyone just like every week, so it's like, oh man, it's about to get wild. These next 4 races, I tell you what, Mason, if tonight's an indication.
Oh man, I'm excited. I hope everyone watching the broadcast is excited. I know the drivers are excited. It's been great. But Brett, before we let you go here tonight, crack one open in celebration of tonight's win. Is there anyone at home, anyone in the broadcast watching, anyone in the pit crew that you want to shout out and thank for your success here tonight?
Yeah, Mason, first and foremost, gotta thank you for bearing with us, especially with the technical difficulties. I'm digging the new overlays and the multiple camera shots. I can't wait to go back and watch the broadcast. I'm seeing some sweet stuff on there, so gotta give a shout out to you. Of course, all the competitors out here tonight for putting on a show with me. Heck of a job by everyone. It was definitely a crazy one. Can't wait for the playoffs. Of course, gotta give a shout out to the admins and everyone trying to make it work. Also, got to give a shout out to everyone on the car. Quick Time Motorsports Media. If you need a paint scheme, be sure to check them out. Got to thank Turn 3 Racing Network as well for being on the car. All the teammates from Downforce to RHU, every single one of them. Enjoy all the racing with them. Got to give a shout out to Ron for that second. Heck of a job by him. I know he had some struggles and fought his way back up through there. Of course, all the Brett the Jet fans out there. I know my dad was in the YouTube chat lands, it looks like, so gotta give a shout out to him. Tune on in, leaving a comment. My brother's watching, so gotta give a shout out to Carson. Of course, my grandma, Grammy. Thanks for tuning on in. Picked up another dub, let's go. And then all the other co-workers that might tune on in. And yeah, Mason, I'm definitely pumped up here for the playoffs. Let's go. Hopefully we can keep this momentum and maybe get some extra bonus points at Milwaukee.
Are we going to be looking at a 3-time back-to-back champion here at the number 71 of Brett the Jet Hahn?
That's what we're going for.
Just stay tuned and find out, folks. Only 4 races left to go here in the Super Late Model Touring Series. It has been Brett the Jet here up in the booth with me tonight celebrating his win. Brett, thank you for joining me here tonight, and congratulations on your win, and I look forward to seeing you next week at Milwaukee.
Alrighty, thank you, Mason. Let's go. Woo!
Let's go. All right, Brett. Congratulations once again. I look forward to seeing you next week.
See you guys.
Alrighty, folks. That was Brett the Jet Hahn, the number 71 machine, taking home the win tonight after a little bit of a confusing end to the race here tonight after iRacing had, well, let's just call it a little bit of a stroke here for the end of the race here at New Smyrna Speedway. And that is going to conclude our coverage here of the race with American Sim Racing Club for the Super Late Model Touring Series. My name is Mason Heimball with Team Goon Squad, bringing you the action here tonight. Thank you all for tuning in and watching. Hit that like button if you enjoyed what you saw. Subscribe if you haven't already. Catch all the action that we have here on Team Goon Squad several days a week. Thank you all once again for tuning in and watching, and I look forward to seeing you all next week. Same time, same place for the race at the Milwaukee Mile. Thank you all for tuning in, and I will see you all next week.